Welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be breaking down a 2000 style R&B sample. And then I'm going to be flipping it into a modern day R&B trap beat. Also, as you guys saw at the beginning of the video, my new Essentials drum kit is out right now. There's over 120 drum sounds for you guys to use. There's also a limited edition version with 13 samples in there. Now there's only 100 copies of the limited edition version, and once it's gone, these samples will never be available again, so make sure you're quick. And finally, there's a free version if you guys are unsure and you want to try it out. But for now, let's get into the sample. One of my favorite eras of music is the 2000s R&B era, with people like T-Pain, Neo, Chris Brown. The songs I used as reference to make this sample was So Sick by Neo and Best Love Song by T-Pain and Chris Brown. Both of those songs have a piano, so of course I started with a piano. I opened up the Gentleman in Contact. It's a super clean, super simple piano. I started off with these very simple melodic chords. As I said, they're very melodic chords, so I used A minor scale, which uses all the white keys. That's a great way to instantly get a more melodic sound. The top line notes of the pianos are really giving bounce, and it's helping with the melody as well. So I'm just going to play it now so you guys can hear what it sounds like. I processed the piano with a compressor. I really wanted to tighten the sound up and make it super together. A very small room plate reverb. And finally, a Pro Q3. I cut some low end out, and I also EQ'd out this section. And you'll notice it's slightly different to normal. If you just create a normal little peak, wherever you want to cut out or boost, if you come down to this arrow, click Make Dynamic, it essentially only takes that frequency out when it's hitting above a certain threshold. So it's almost like compression. With all the effects on, it sounds like this. Normally I'd add some sort of tape effect or something like that, but these types of songs often have really clean sounds. They're not too vintage. Obviously it's from the 2000s, which isn't too long ago, so they're not super worn out and detuned and stuff like that. Next, I opened up Analog Lab. I wanted to create a super simple counter melody, so I grabbed this simple softy lead from Lanez and I put in this super simple melody. That just has a simple EQ, cutting some low end out. I put a cassette on there with the crushed preset. You could hear that super distorted kind of sound. And finally, a pretty light reverb. I wanted to add some strings, but I couldn't find any VSTs that were sounding really good. So I hopped on Splice and found this string loop, chopped it up a little bit and put it on top of the piano. Next, of course, I had to add a vocal to this. I'm going to play it for you guys dry with just the auto tune, and then I'll show you all the effects and how I processed it. First of all, I pitched it up an octave, then I added an altar boy, a Pro Q3 cutting out highs and lows. I actually put a decapitator on this. If I feel like the vocal isn't cutting through the mix enough, it doesn't have enough grit to it, then I'll throw a decapitator on there. It just distorts it a little bit. There's a few vocal presets, so I just chose the mild tube Vox one, an intensity reverb, vocal distance sci-fi preset, almost all the way wet, and finally a super light fruity delay. Underneath that, I added some harmonies just at the end of each 4 bars. Those are processed pretty much exactly the same. I wanted to create a section without the vocals, but I also wanted to fill the space a little bit with something else. So I opened up SRX Orchestra, found this string sound that sounded pretty good, and just did this pretty simple counter melody. Now showing you guys the sample, I'm going to flip it into a more modern style beat. So let's go into the limited edition of the Essentials drum kit. As you can see, the sample packs here, Old School Love Song is the sample. I'm going to start by processing the sample a little bit. I want to make it more lo-fi and distant and airy. Let's start with the EQ. Let's add a band pass. Not go too crazy. Let's just take some of the high end, some of the low end off. Next, let's add some reverb. I'm going to make it quite short, but kind of heavy. I'm going to cut out some of the low end, take down the size a little bit. I'm also going to stretch it and bring the tempo down a little bit. I want to slow it down, maybe 145. So let's start off with a snap, I think. That sounds pretty good. I'm going to leave that snap so it's only hitting twice, and then I'm going to put, I think, a rim shot in between. Okay, that sounded really good. Let's go for our hi-hat next. Just add one small roll in, nothing crazy at all. What I'm going to do is add another bass in so it switches up. I'm thinking a shorter stabby bass. So that's my attempt at making a 2000s R&B style sample and then flipping it into something that could be used in the modern day. All the drums I used in this beat are in my new kit, which obviously I've mentioned before. Link in the description if you want to go and buy that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.